let the boobs fly free.
Why are you texting me now?
Because I hate you.
No, it's a thing for, that group project that I'm working on today. People are interviewing someone tomorrow, but I wasn't planning on getting involved in those anyway, so.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah. Because I already have, okay, my section of everyone else is writing, their sections of the paper, and they're shooting for like 5 to 6 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I write stuff is I gather up all my sources, put them in a list, like how I do for this, and then I go through each source and I pull out quotes that I want to use and put all those in a Word document. That Word document is 31 pages long. So,
Ew.
yeah.
Shannon, Nicole.
So, I already told them mine might be more like 10 pages. So,
Ew.
it's on how we should get
You're
rid
an
of qualified
overachiever.
immunity. I know. It's
Okay.
how, like, my section specifically is, like, we should get rid of it because it furthers racial justice and gender equality. Like, how am I supposed to make that 5 pages? That's impossible.
You're right, I'll give you that.
Yeah. And I'm not going to use all of it. Like, some of it's just, like, repeating, like, some of the articles are repeating things, I just wanted to this is just how I write shit. I just wanted to get it all in one spot. That way I had it. And then I outlined it. And then I didn't want to work on it anymore. So I'm going to write it tomorrow. But it's not due until Tuesday. I have plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
This is how I wrote 19 pages of notes in 3 hours. This is just how I function with stuff like this.
There. I have 5 pages of notes, but one of those pages is just the phonetic alphabet for because I did the international phonetic alphabets just so that I could reference it because that's the one that I'm used to working with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have a Irish Gaelic kind of phonetic thing as well.
Yeah.
Basically, it shows you what letter combinations, what their phonetic transcription would be.
Mm-hmm. Do you know which
Dialect?
Yeah, which dialect of Irish it is?
I have no idea.
Okay, because there's 3 main ones.
I am aware.
Okay, just wondering.
But it is impossible to find anything because they don't like to give you information, okay?
No, there's a whole website. I found it now.
Can we do the
also
intro?
keep in
'Cause
mind
we still
that-
haven't done that.
Hold on, let me finish the sentence.
You're
Keep
fine,
in mind that I was doing this with my phone as a hotspot while substituting, and so the internet was very much not liking me, so it would only pull up one picture every 3 hours. So
Yeah.
I just went with the one that made the most sense and looked the most phonetic-y, okay?
Yeah.
I also went on YouTube and found an Irish lady who I am actually going to mention at some point.
Oh, is her name Saoirse or something? Or
no. But I found her and she... I listened to her pronunciations and they appear to be the Munster dialect, okay?
Okay. I was just asking what her name was.
Her name was Laura O'Brien.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, welcome. You're listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive. I am Shelby.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Shannon. Are you two fighting secretly or something? What is going on?
No, we're on great terms.
Okay.
I'm scared.
No, I just get really aggressive about language things, apparently.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know.
It's gonna be, you're gonna be super aggressive about language, and I'm gonna be super aggressive about Ireland, and Shannon's gonna be in the middle,
yeah.
like, I wish my moms would stop fighting.
Yeah, no, okay, so I don't know which dialect the Irish pronunciation phonetic guide that I found is for, but the pronunciations that I will be using, and I will actually mention a couple different pronunciations, but the ones that I will be using are going to be based off of Lauren O'Brien's YouTube video, which I do actually recommend people check out because she will go in depth of like what we're going to be talking about today, and I'll give you the name of the video later. But from what I can tell, she uses the Munster dialect. It's also difficult to know which pronunciation of like these names is the correct one, because they all come from different regions. So like one of them is from the Ulster region, one of them is from Munster, and those are basically like provinces in Ireland. So they all have kind of like their own dialect, and so like that particular like god or goddess, like the way that you pronounce their name in the region that they are from. So like say one of them is from the Ulster region, the way they pronounce her name in the Ulster dialect is different from how they pronounce it in the Munster dialect. But yeah, so it's kind of like, well, is the Ulster one the most correct then because that's where she's from, or what? But since I'm going off of what Laura O'Brien did, I believe it is the Munster dialect. The best I got for you.
Okay.
Does that appease you, Hannah?
Yes, I was just wondering.
Okay. No, you're good. You're good. I just wanted to be clear.
Okay.
But yes, there
Do we have
are
any
multiple dialects of Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Caleb.
I have an announcement. It's not
Okay.
really, like, related to anything, except...
I promise
as
I'm not
a
mad at
teacher-
Hannah, okay? I'm just aggressive.
Oh, no, this has nothing to do with you. This is
Okay.
just why I'm very fragile today. As an educator now, fuck fire drills. That is the most
They're the worst.
idiotic thing.
They're so disruptive.
It literally set off so many of our kids, and also, like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to say what happened. I'll tell you guys later. It was just, like,
Yeah,
fucking
especially if
awful.
you work in like special education or anything like that. Like when we used to have them at the daycare, I mean, I'm in a room filled with 2-year-olds and you're going to set off a fire drill in the middle of nap time.
We have an
It's
issue. I
so
mean, a lot of
dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like all it does is I mean, I understand the point of it, but it is so disruptive, and it like sets off so many kids who have any sort of sensory anything.
Oh, yeah. There were so many kids in headphones that we were like, well, I guess we'll start the tantrum outside so that at least it's not inside.
Yeah.
we had an issue
Yep.
because like my law school, it's in just one like 10 or 12 floor building. And so every time we had a fire drill, I was always up on like the 5th floor at least, which is a pain in the ass, but like obviously you can't take the elevators because they shut down. And up until last year, we had a student in a wheelchair, and then one of my
my
friends,
God.
she uses a walker, like literally, and like this is a
Oh, that's right, because you're on that like
Widespread-
disability committee
yeah,
thing.
like there's an issue in a lot of areas where if there's a fire drill, the plan is to leave behind the people who can't walk or who can't use stairs.
Yeah.
Like that is the official plan in almost every multi-floor building. And it's
That's not really
Gross.
getting you prepared for the real
And I
thing,
hate
though.
no, it's not at all. Like you have to get them out.
That's
Like
awful.
it's ridiculous. But yeah. And like even for me, like I sometimes when I have my backpack on with like my laptop and all my textbooks and shit, I have trouble going upstairs because of my back. And even with those fire drills,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not walking all the way back up there. I'm waiting for the elevator to come back on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
One
because
time,
yeah, it's just yeah. Well, because like we brought it up during not like a meeting for DALSA, which is a disability group that I'm on the board of, but I think it was just while we were all just like talking And Natasha, who is the one who uses a walker, was just like, yeah, I just get left. And I'm like, oh, that's really depressing. Like, oh no. But yeah, so all in all, fire drills are bad. Let's just go with that. That's the moral of the story. Fire drills are bad. And not helpful and loud. So, yeah. Hannah, were you going to say something?
I was just thinking about the time in college when we were taking a British Lit final, and the fire alarm was going off for real. It wasn't a drill or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we all told Lania that we would rather burn to death and finish our essays than walk away from what we were doing.
Yeah.
So anyway.
It's fine.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have one? Oh, my announcement is that Shelby and I got that apartment. So,
Yeah.
yay!
Toilet throne.
Yes.
I'm so
Toilet
excited.
throne, weird ceiling, skylights everywhere. It's gonna be great.
Haunted closet.
Haunted closet, which is where the cat's litter box is going. Yeah.
Yup.
We have everything planned out because we just have everything planned out because that's who we are as humans. So.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be great. That's my only announcement.
My announcement is that the air conditioning has been broken at work lately, and so it is like a sauna in there,
Ew.
and it is awful.
Yeah.
Literally, yesterday I had like an 8.5 hour shift, which is normal. But with the air conditioning being broken, there was like one tiny little corner where you could sit where it was like bearable because it was right where the vent blew, so there was at least airflow. And the whole rest of the store, I was just like, all right, it's a sauna. I'm going to die of a heat stroke. It's cool. By the end of the day, I was like so much heat exhaustion that I like came home and I was like, I'm going to bed. It was bad. But anyway, that's not really an announcement. That's just update on...
Yeah, that's okay. I feel like most of the time our announcements aren't actually announcements.
Oh, also my neck is out of place and it's spring, which means daily migraines for Shelby because I have a barometer for a head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's normal, so. Basically from March until May, I live off of Excedrin. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys on the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Cool, because I am not. Oh, also I made a PowerPoint this week for those listening.
Yay!
I had time.
For fucking once.
I'm sorry.
Are we fighting?
I promise me and Hannah don't hate each other.
It's just been kind of tense the last couple weeks.
We're just both really tired.
This is just how Hannah and I talk to each other. It's fine. We just have to yell.
Shelby and I have maybe met each other 10 times in our lives, right?
Seriously?
Like, I know it's super weird that we host a podcast together, but like, we do not know each other.
You really
Not really. We're basically the same person and we
We
know
are.
a bunch about each other, but like as far as
Yes.
meeting in person, it's really not been that much. Like I've literally like watched her house for 2 weeks and like
But I wasn't
her
there.
cats and her dog,
Yeah.
but like she wasn't there. So like we don't know each other.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then, like, you've never been able to go to the cookie party for various reasons. Or, like,
No,
sometimes you can,
I think
and
I went
sometimes
to
you
one.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I miss the cookie
And then
party.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
as far as like meeting in person, me and Hannah like tops it's been like 20 times.
Yeah.
Maximum.
Which is hysterical.
It's so weird.
And
I
half the
promise we're
time, I am
friends.
also there.
Yes. It's just an interesting friendship, okay? That's all. It's a
Yeah.
military kid friendship. That's what
Yeah.
happens.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, Hannah loses this. Sad day.
I'm here now, but like,
Okay.
I missed that whole conversation.
It's
Oh, we're
It's
just
not
talking about
important.
how
It's
you
fine.
and I are actually friends, but not friends. Yeah.
You're like internet friends.
Yeah. We're military
We're
kid
like-
friends.
Shannon's
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Right. You know, whatever works.
Okay, anyway.
But anyway, today, because this episode comes out on St. Patrick's Day,
Aaron, go
We are
brown,
gonna be talking-
motherfuckers!
yeah, Unfortunately, it did not fall on Hannah's turn. It fell on my turn, but I am also part Irish. I'm just not as Irish as Hannah is.
You're
But
just not a native of Dublin. Oh, by the
no, I'm
way,
not.
I bought that dress that I showed you guys.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
So
I
can
bought
be a
it
druid
too.
in the woods. Oh hell
So
yeah!
I
Shannon,
did.
get
we're
a
gonna
dress
both
so we
be
can all be
druids in the
druids.
woods.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I get the black
Shannon
one?
get the black one. Yeah, Shannon
Okay,
get the black
cool.
one.
Shannon-
I got the red
Okay.
one.
I got the green
Hannah
one
got green.
because Merida. Also, I made my
Yes.
birch tar yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
so I felt really,
Oh yeah,
really woodsy, real druid-like.
I love
Use it
that
as
for
an
you.
antiseptic.
Yeah, Shannon and I have pretty much determined that the aesthetic of our apartment is gonna be the moment you walk in, you go, they might be librarians, they might be witches, we're not really sure. So,
Yeah.
and they'll be half
Mutually
right for both of us.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna be a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, today we are going to be talking about Ireland. And I am wearing my Kelly green sweater in honor of the Irish part of my family.
I'm wearing green pants.
Nice. Basically, we're not talking about St. Patrick because I don't give a crap. Actually, I do. His stuff is kind of cool, but yeah, mixed feelings.
Yeah, same.
but-
Oh, so conflicted. I don't know.
And in case you want to know, the first slide of my PowerPoint says Irish mythology, but not Patrick, because fuck that dude. 'Cause that's how I write notes.
It's a very pretty
And
title
I-
slide, though.
Thanks. It's
Yeah.
very basic, but I like it. It's like clean.
Yeah. It's minimalist.
Yes. Which is not
Yeah.
a thing that I am in any way, as I sit
No.
here with my black lipstick and full face of makeup that I did to lay in bed all day.
Gotta be dressed for the job you want. Just laying in bed and
Exactly.
being like a goth vampire or whatever.
I mean, you're not wrong. That is my dream life. But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Irish mythology. I mean, like overall, I'm gonna do like a basic, like overview of Irish mythology, and then I'm gonna go into like a specific because it is also Women's History Month. We're gonna be talking about some goddesses. So, if you want to go to the second slide,
Gorgeous. Friggin'
yes,
gorgeous.
it's just a bunch of pictures from Ireland, some pretty scenery. But yeah, so you guys can look at those while I tell you about Irish mythology. Also, because nobody cares, but I think it's funny, and therefore it is not funny, I'm going to read you guys what I wrote in my notes before I decided what I was doing. So, I came across this like one topic, which is actually what we're going to be talking about, but the way I like started my notes was with this topic, but I wasn't going to talk about it at the time, so my notes say, this has nothing to do with what we're going to be talking about today, but I came across it while doing research, and it was like the perfect Women's History Month moment, so I'm just really quickly gonna talk about it. JK, maybe this is what I'm gonna talk about. Fuck it, we're doing this.
Love it.
And I don't edit my notes, so there you go. Okay, so Irish mythology. Sorry, this is who I am as a person.
It's all good.
So, Irish mythology. Okay. Basically, it was all oral tradition and passed down through stories and ballads, like most ancient cultures, because it was, the Celts and the Druids and the native peoples to Ireland. But when the Christians invaded, they brought written language and wrote down some of the stories in manuscripts. A lot of those manuscripts have been destroyed or lost over time, but there is enough of them that remain or got like copied down throughout time, so that we get a good idea of kind of the mythology. Of course, It's not a full picture. Some manuscripts are gone. Some stories never got written down. Some got written down incorrectly. We'll never know. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, but it is how it goes. So, basically for their myths, or like their mythology and lore and everything like that, they kind of go in like eras, but they call them cycles. It's a little difficult. You'll find, I'll be saying that a lot throughout this, but it's a little difficult to kind of like pinpoint what exactly everything means or like who people are. Again, yeah. But yeah, so they have these like eras that they kind of call cycles. They are mostly distinct like eras, but they do have some overlap. These cycles are known as the mythological cycle, the Ulster cycle, the Fianna cycle, and the historical cycle. And basically, that's kind of just like they fall in different timelines, basically. And there are also some stories that fall outside of these cycles, and there are some folk tales that don't necessarily fit into any cycle, but they feature characters or persons that are from some of the cyclical myths, and so they're not considered like that. Like tale won't be considered part of the Ulster cycle, but it'll feature one of the characters that is prominent throughout the Ulster cycle, so it's a little confusing. But yeah, you know,
Yeah.
ancient tales that didn't really have a historical timeline. It happens.
Woo.
What?
I said woohoo.
Oh, yeah. For sure. So basically the importance of like deities and divine figures in Irish mythology varies. It kind of depends on the source of the myth, the region, things like that. A lot of geographic regions will place importance on a certain god or goddess, but then in historical tales, those same figures aren't always seen as divine. A lot of it is because they place more importance on the deeds of these people, as like such as like they'll be warriors or colonizers or inventors or things like that. They place more importance on like what they did as opposed to their divinity. So it's kind of hard to think about it in the same way as you would like Greek or Roman mythology, because it doesn't work the same way. Just because we call it mythology doesn't, like, most people, I would think, at least in America, when you say mythology, are like, oh, Zeus and Athena and stuff like that. And Irish mythology doesn't work the same way. Like, their gods and goddesses aren't tied to a pantheon. They're not even necessarily tied to each other in any way. And their mythology is much less religious. It is more purely mythological, if that makes sense. And so their gods and goddesses, their deities in general, they aren't necessarily classified by a singular quality. Like, again, if you think of like Greek or Roman, you have like the goddess of love, the god of war, things like that. Again, that's not how it works in Irish mythology. Their gods and goddesses are more associated with like a sacred site or a seasonal festival. They do have some that are like the ones that we'll be talking about, where it's like they are considered like a goddess of war, but again, it's a little bit different. So just yeah. And then sometimes, I forgot to write down the transcription of that. Oops. But that's okay. Sometimes their deities are considered to be part of the Fae or the Fair Folk. Also, do not call them the Fae. It's rude. It's a slur.
That's not so very nice.
Yeah.
Fuck you up.
Yeah. So call them like the fair folk or whatever. And then in those instances, when the deity are considered part of that, they are called. Hannah, do you know how to say it? It's the Tuatha De Danann. Because if not,
I have to
that's
look
how
at
I'm
it.
saying it. Okay. Either way, that one I forgot to write the transcription down. But basically, it translates. Sorry. Basically, it translates to the children of Danu, and she is considered like the mother goddess, essentially, or like the creator, sort of thing. So yeah, that is kind of your overview. Basically, just don't think of Irish mythology in the same way that you would Greek or Roman. It doesn't work that way.
One of my
Yes.
Well, one of my book series that's set in Celtic Ireland has a pronunciation thing at the front, and it says it's Tuatha De Danann.
Tuatha
whatever.
De Danann?
Yes, that might be wrong.
That makes
I don't
sense
know.
because
That's what the book
TH
says.
does not make a TH sound in Irish.
Oh, no,
Tuatha De
the
Danann.
D in the middle is going to make a J sound.
Okay.
J.
Yeah,
These books were also
Tuatha
written.
Danann.
Yeah, these books were written by an Australian woman, so like they're not
Oh, well,
100%
fuck off.
accurate. So
Well, and
She's
again,
like Celtic
Irish
book.
Gaelic, unless you speak it, is very
Yeah.
difficult to figure out. You guys can go to the next slide. Again, my very basic PowerPoint. But today
the
we are
effort.
going to be talking. What?
I said I love
Oh,
the
you
effort.
love the effort. Thanks.
A for
Appreciate
effort.
ya. Maybe. But today we're going to be talking about the Morrigan. And here's where things get even more complicated than they already are. Okay. So sometimes the Morrigan is presented as a single figure. She's called the Great Queen or the Phantom Queen. She's mainly associated with war and fate and often appears in the form of a crow, also known as the Bive. But she is also sometimes seen as a manifestation of all of the earth and sovereignty goddesses, and she plays the role of the guardian of the territories and the people. So essentially she's just like the guardian of all of Ireland, and she is the amalgamation of all of the goddesses together, and they work to defend and fight for the land. And then another way that I do want to make a distinction real quick. Sometimes I will say Morrigan and sometimes I will say the Morrigan. Morrigan is a singular figure in that sense, and then the Morrigan will be referring to the way that I will be talking about her, I guess, is that she is a trio of goddesses, and the Morrigan is kind of like the title of their little faction, if that makes sense. But again, Morrigan is sometimes seen as a singular figure, and things get real complicated. So the way that we will be talking about them, or I will be talking about them today, is as the trio of goddesses, and they are either called the Morrigan or the Morrigna. Yeah, in this way, again, it's kind of just like a trio of goddesses. It is almost always presented as a trio if they're going to be doing it this way. The one where she's like seen as a manifestation, that one seems to be the most rare, not as common. And then, so basically, it's most often that she is either a singular figure or this trio of goddesses. And when it's the trio, it's kind of like the three most important goddesses in mythology. And then in my notes I have, I guess it's hard to follow. They might be sisters. They might be the wives of the Dagda. They might be the wives of Nate. It's all very confusing. There's, again, it all kind of depends on which story you read, what the context is, what region it's from. But yeah. So, sometimes as this trio, they are called the Trio of Raven Women, which we'll kind of get into, but they all kind of like present as ravens or
Why
crows.
didn't we name our podcast that?
You know,
Damn it. We're so stupid.
now that I'm thinking about it, it would be cool. We could just be the Morrigan. That'd be cool. Change our name.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it just for St. Patrick's Day.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
please don't make me rebrand all of our shit again.
Right. But yeah, so also there is some discrepancy in which 3 goddesses are included in the Morrigan. So I'm actually going to be talking about 4 today, possibly 5, depending on how you want to count it. But it's the discrepancy comes in that like no one really knows. It could just be different names for the same goddess. It could be that they are different people and different regions include different goddesses depending on what they think is important. It could be, we don't know.
Yeah.
That's all.
It could be anything.
It could be mind your own business.
Right. It could just be that they're all interchangeable. No one really knows.
Yeah.
Because again, they are not goddesses in the sense of what I naturally think of as a goddess as. They're more tied to the land, tied to things like that. So, but yeah, so keep that in mind. So you can go to the next slide. The first of the 3 Morrigan that we will be talking about is going to be Bive. It is spelled in English letters because Irish didn't think they needed their own alphabet, but that's also
Shelby, look at
because
the meme I just sent you.
Christianity. Where did you send it?
Facebook.
The triad. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I like mute my phone when we do this, so I don't get the
No, it's
notification.
good. I was sent that today and I was like, wow, that's real relevant.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, so basically, I believe it's, again, I haven't traced the history of Irish language, and I probably should, but I believe it's because it was all just an oral language, and then, essentially the Christians invaded, and they're the ones who brought the written language. So I think that's why the Irish alphabet is the same as like the English alphabet, and it should not be.
Nope, it should be.
And they just kind of like made it work, and it doesn't work, and it's just a whole mess. But yeah,
maybe this is why I can't spell, because genetically I'm predisposed just to be
just to
of
throw
a
in
place-
letters that make no sense.
No, to be of an oral language. I
mean, that's fair.
I don't need to write it down. Just shut up and listen.
Right.
Okay?
But yeah, so Bive is the first goddess that we're going to be talking about. In Old Irish, it would be pronounced Bive, with like a hard th at the end, or not. No, it would be Bav, not. There would be no I in there. Anyway, Bav, and then in modern Irish, it is Bow, and then in Munster Irish, I think I said English last time, but Munster Irish, it is Bive. So that's the one that I'm going to be going with, mostly because it is the easiest for me to pronounce, personally. So that's what we're going with. Again, if I am pronouncing it wrong, I am sorry.
Send all complaints to Shelby.
Yeah, feel free, honestly, to tell me how it is pronounced. I would love to know.
Honestly, I would love any fan interaction whatsoever. That would just be swell.
Please
Same.
talk to us.
Yeah, even if you're telling us that we're morons, we know, but like,
Yes. But tell me that to my face.
well, via a screen.
Right.
Tell that
DM
to
me.
Shannon's face.
Yeah, tell it to my face because I'm going to be the one who checks the email.
Fair. Okay, so Bive means crow in Irish, but it is also this goddess's name, and so she is known sometimes as like the crow goddess or the battle crow. So she, which is like such a cool title. I
want a
wish
battle
that
crow.
was my title.
Hannah, I heard you
Like,
just say sick, just so
Yeah.
quiet.
Honestly,
Like,
I've wanted
honestly-
a crow my entire fucking life. They're so fucking smart.
They are.
They're so
want a
cool.
crow.
Crows and
And a
ravens.
group of
like,
them is called a murder, which is just
like
my
it's
favorite
I
thing.
just so good. Like
so cute.
corvids in general, like I love them.
So
Oh my
smart.
god, they're so smart.
They're so
So
cool.
smart. So
Collect so
smart.
many shiny
We literally,
things.
in my philosophy class in college, used to watch videos of crows because our philosophy professor was like, but what is knowledge? Because crows have knowledge. And it got like all philosophical and deep, but I was also like, but crows are just cool.
College is weird.
College is a weird time. That was my little tiny like British professor who also made us watch Monty Python all the time. It was so fun.
Oh, yes. Everyone should always watch Monty Python, always.
Yep.
That is the only good thing that ever came out of England.
That's a lie.
Name one other thing. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Scones.
Yeah, do you think that they invented scones, or did they fucking steal that from someone they colonized, Shelby? Because I bet you they stole it from someone they colonized.
Honestly, you're probably right.
Probably.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was gonna say tea at first, and then I was
Nope,
like, no,
nope,
that's
nope.
definitely not them.
Nope.
Back that right up.
We've been on a very anti-Britain kick the last couple weeks for some reason.
It's fine.
Welcome to my whole life.
No, I know. It's just it normally doesn't bleed over this much.
I know.
I mean,
No, I'm not saying
yes,
that's a bad
I'm
thing.
part Irish. I'm also very much British. So
Get the fuck out of here. I just have been, it's not that I've ramped up my listening to Irish music because it is March. It just so happens that it is now not acceptable to listen to Christmas music anymore. So I haven't listened
oh my
to a
gosh,
lot more
I
Irish
haven't gotten
music.
my Shamrock Shake yet. My annual Shamrock
shit.
Shake.
I have an
on.
annual Shamrock Shake too.
Yes,
Oh my god, that's so weird. Me and
See,
Emma every
you guys
year.
are the same person.
we are.
Very weird.
I am well aware.
I don't have
Anyway.
easy access to a McDonald's, so I will not be having a Shamrock Shake.
Yeah, I
They
can't even
also
think of where
have a
there's McDonald's
Shamrock
near me.
Oreo McFlurry, and that just
Oh,
sounds
that sounds
delightful.
so good.
So I might do that
But,
this
like-
year instead.
Wait a minute. Do you actually like the Shamrock Shake?
It depends.
I usually get the chocolate
Some-
one, so I cheat.
God.
I cheat. I don't even get the
yeah,
regular
that's
one.
cheating.
I know.
I get it to
Some-
say how bad it is every single
Yeah,
year.
I
I'm
don't
like,
really
wow,
like
this
the
is just
regular
like
one.
toothpaste.
It depends on how much of the mint they put in, because sometimes if they only put in like a little bit and it's blended really well, it's really good. But 99% of the time they put in too much
It's
of the mint,
toothpaste.
and it's like you get vanilla milkshake and then
It's
like a
toothpaste.
layer
Mint.
of toothpaste, and it is disgusting.
Dear
but it is an
non-Americans.
annual
The chocolate
tradition.
ones are good. I like the chocolate ones. Those are good.
I've never had a chocolate one.
They mix
Dear
it better.
non-Americans.
Sounds
Oh my god, let me finish my statement.
Yes. Go
Yes.
ahead. Sorry.
A Shamrock Shake is basically this thing that we do to celebrate quote-unquote St. Patrick's Day in America.
It's a very
where they put
corporate America thing for us to be
green
doing.
fucking toothpaste in a vanilla milkshake. Not even. Like a vanilla
It's at
not even
McDonald's,
real milk.
by the way.
Yeah, it's only
vanilla
at McDonald's.
quote-unquote ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love McDonald's ice cream though. It's so good.
I
It's
love
so good.
the McFlurries. They're so good.
But even just
wish
a
they
soft
had
serve,
the-
it's always broken. But if you can get a soft serve like cone
Yeah.
from
Every day.
McDonald's, it is the best.
Yeah.
That's all we do on road trips. Because my mom, after
Mm-hmm.
driving for like 4 hours, she'll be like, "Do we need a treat?" And then we go to McDonald's.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty much when you have ice cream from McDonald's
Mm-hmm.
on road
Do we need a
trips.
treat? Yes,
Yes,
always,
always.
always. DTT. Down to treat.
Down to tree. Okay.
Can I real quick? So you guys know how I like at the very beginning of the episode I have like that cold open thing where I have a quote from whoever's like leading the episode.
Yeah.
I did that way because otherwise Hannah would do it every single time.
Honestly,
I'm here for
it
the
should just be
comedy.
Hannah every time.
It would be Hannah every single time.
She is the funniest out of all of
Thank you,
us.
thank
Yes.
you, thank you. Again, let's go back to Ireland. It's genetic. All of my
Look,
aunts
I'm
and
down.
uncles
My
are like
last
it.
trip to Ireland was an ideal. We'll just go
Yeah.
with that.
My last trip to Ireland was, oh wait, I've never been. Also, every time I
Yeah,
drive
I
to the
haven't
beach, I
either.
cry because I think about how the closest I'll ever be to Ireland.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Ireland, okay?
I've
I'm
never
just
even
saying.
left the country, so like I want to
Look,
be in
the only
Shannon?
reason we went is because I conned my parents into agreeing to it. Also, I'm a military kid who's lived overseas.
Yeah.
And my dad had a conference in Ireland at the same week that I had spring break, and my sister had spring break from college. And I was like, well, then it's perfect. We've got to go. And you know, it's real easy to talk my dad into things.
Yeah.
So,
Shannon, this is not addressed to you. Shannon Byrne, if you are listening, remember that time in Portugal when we met at the pool at the hotel where we were both staying and you said, oh yeah, you can come to my house anytime and we'll be pen pals. Fucking, when can I come over, bitch? I am waiting. You're not a bitch. I know that our dads still know each other, but anyway, I hope you're doing well.
at Shannon Burns.
At Shannon Burns. We're probably fucking cousins.
Right?
Because I have a Burns. I'm descendant of the Burns. They were
Yeah.
the stone masons
we
who
had
came
any
over.
I don't think we had any Burnses floating
No, we
around.
didn't in mine.
You know that picture
Um,
I sent to you guys, that painting of the
Uh-huh.
three brothers? Those are the
Yeah.
Burns brothers.
Ah.
Gotcha.
I am of John Bourne? What? John Byrne. I am John Bourne. I think. Shit,
I
I
am
forget. Pretty sure.
probably 75% German, and then like 20% English, and then like 2.5% Irish and 2.5% French. So
My DNA tells me that one, I am addicted to coffee. I just have a genetic marker
You needed
for
a
it.
DNA test to
I
tell you
haven't
that?
actually done
No,
a
it just
DNA
it popped
test.
up. They
I
sent me an
don't
email about
feel
it.
the need to.
And then two, it says I'm a native of Dublin. So if that
Mm-hmm.
tells you where I'm from, I don't know.
Allie did one, and I'm assuming, Allie and I are full siblings,
Oh,
so
guess
I don't...
who's calling?
Is it your mom?
Yes,
Or is it Betty?
it's my mom.
Betty hasn't called in a while.
Hi, can I
She
call you
hasn't.
later? Love you, bye.
But yeah, Allie did one, so I don't see the need for me to do one because we have the same DNA. We are 56% British and Irish, and we're from County Cork, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
And
County Cork. We
then-
are from County Mayo, but also
Yeah,
Dublin. Which
and then
is on
we're
the other
like-
side of the country, so I don't understand that.
Yeah, and then we're like a quarter each of French and German. So, which we thought there would be more German, but there's not. It's mostly Irish. So,
My family emigrated to America actually not that long ago. I think it was like 3 generations ago. So
we've
I
had
know we're like 90% German.
yeah, my
So.
like my super duper ancestor on the Conder side came over as like Pennsylvania Dutch. So, we've been here for a while. They immediately
Yeah.
moved to the south and became hillbillies, but like, you know.
Nice.
But they started out with good intentions.
Yep.
Yeah, my dad remembers his grandpa, I think I could be mistelling the story, remembers his grandpa saying the rosary in Irish.
Nice.
So that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, my great-grandma spoke German with all of her friends. And she spoke German whenever she could. If she had to speak English, she got mad about it. So,
I mean, but
There's some town in like I think it's Missouri where like even now like its main language is German.
that's cool.
I think it's Missouri.
didn't I
A
send you
little
guys that
weird.
map of languages across the country, like
I think
what
so.
language is spoken in each state
I think
besides
so.
English?
I don't remember.
Also, for the record, there is no national language, everyone who says you
Nope,
have to
there's
speak
not.
American.
No, there's not.
And also
Speak
American
I
American.
will fight you on that.
No, there's not. There's not a national language or a national religion.
Nope.
No.
Right. So
There's
stop
not.
saying you're a
Will
Christian nation
fight
because you're
you.
not.
I
Nope.
will fight you.
Nope. Okay. Anyway.
Anyway.
Let's get back.
Bye.
So anyway, Ireland.
Anyway. Okay. So I don't even know where we were. Bive means crow. She's known as a war goddess who takes the form of a crow, and she's sometimes called Bive Gatha, meaning battle crow.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm getting that tattooed on my face.
I mean, go for it.
You can't stop me.
Okay, so during a battle, she causes fear and confusion in the opposing side's soldiers in order to turn the tide of the battle to whichever side she favors. I couldn't really find any or like much information on how she causes fear and confusion, but she's a goddess, so like
She just
she
does.
probably just puts the idea in their head. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes she will
magic.
appear as the crow. Sometimes she will appear as in like a human form. Most often it is a crow, though. She will also sometimes appear before a battle. And in that context, it's usually as a foreshadowing to the extent of carnage that is to follow. Again, it's very similar to like crows are just a omen of death and carnage and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not hating on Irish mythology. I love it. It is my lifeblood. But
It's
it was
just
most
so
likely that
derivative.
crows appeared around battles and they were like, it's a goddess. So
I mean, that's how like most of those worked.
I was going to say crows are most often considered some form of either like familiar or deity in most cultures.
Yeah.
Guys,
Where-
I'm getting a crow. I've decided. I'm gonna rescue
Do
one.
it, yes.
I wonder what the state law is in Maine. I'll have to look it up.
But yeah, so before a battle, it's a foreshadowing to the amount of carnage there will be, or to predict the death of someone notable. I said that really weird. The death of someone notable. Okay. And so in those cases, Jesus Christ, I cannot speak. In those cases, she generally foreshadows the death through a wailing cry similar to that of a banshee. Can you imagine just like a crow on a battlefield?
Just screaming
And
at
not
you.
even like a crow's caw. They're just like screaming bloody murder.
Ugh.
That has got to be terrifying.
Yeah.
I would cry. I'd be like, yeah, peace out. Y'all can fight your battle.
I've decided I want to be Scottish. Goodbye.
Never mind. But yeah, so sometimes Bive is considered to be a banshee. Again, Irish mythology is
It's all over the place. Who knows?
all over the place. Banshees are sometimes considered like their own creatures. Sometimes they are like included with the goddesses. Sometimes it is that like Bive gave the power of this death wail to these wraiths and they therefore are now banshees. It's again all over the place.
Yeah.
But
Can I say
sometimes
something really
she's
quick
considered a banshee. Yes.
about the X-Men Banshee?
Yes.
Who is poorly portrayed in the movies, I might add. However, it was so stupid to me reading those comics as a kid, not even as a kid, as like a 25-year-old, that the Banshee, the character of the Banshee, is Scottish. But like,
Well,
Okay.
that's dumb.
what?
That's not real.
Do some research, Stan. Seriously.
Stanley. What are you
Not-
doing?
Anyway, that's all. That was
Usually
it.
he's pretty on top of it.
Yeah, except not with the Banshee.
That's
Okay, how
dumb.
to own a crow in Maine. That's what I'm
Also, in case anyone is wondering, because I love to give the spellings of things, Banshee in Irish is spelled Bean space Sidhe.
Yeah, because
And that-
Bon means woman.
Yeah.
Fun fact. It's Bon May. I'm a woman. Can I own a pet crow or raven? Let's look.
Yes.
So it's illegal to keep American crows or common ravens as pets.
Well, that's sad.
Fuck that.
Anyway.
I'm glad they're wild. I would not want a wild animal, but I love them so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bive appears in multiple stories and forms of lore, most often as the harbinger of death and war. Again, like most crows in most mythologies. Yeah. I'm not really going to dive into any one particular story for her, or there's only one of these goddesses that I'm really going to dive into one story just because it was the original one that I researched and it makes me laugh. so for most of these goddesses, I'm just kind of doing the overview of like who they were, sort of thing. So for her, I'm not really going to talk about one story. And she essentially plays the same role in all of the stories that she does appear in, because again, she's the battle crow. Occasionally, she will appear as like an old crone with a prophecy of like a lord's downfall. In one story,
Biddy.
Okay.
Like an Irish biddy. Never mind. I'll fuck off. Goodbye.
You're good, Hannah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, in one story she appears as a it's like some dude named Cormac, and he's going into battle, and she appears before the battle. She's like washing his chariot in this like ford. And that is the omen that like foretells that Cormac is gonna die in the upcoming battle. So
Wait, back up. She's doing what in a what?
she is washing his chariot in a ford.
A ford?
A
A river.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
fjord,
I thought you were
but-
trying to say fjord, and I was like,
No.
Are you fucking
It's similar.
confused?
I know how to
Yes,
say fjord.
I know what a ford is. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I caught up. I was
Yes,
like,
we are tracking. All right.
okay.
Um,
Now we're in Iceland.
but yeah, so basically overall she's just an omen of death. That's the basic gist
Get
of
it,
it. A lot of times battlefields were called the Garden of Bive, which is also freaking sick.
Yes.
So, to be known as like the battle crow and battlefields are your garden, like, I just want to be her. God. All right, so that's enough on her. Let's move on finally. You can go to the next slide.
Why are all these women having one boob out?
Look, also, all of the artwork that I found for you guys is straight coming from Google, and I found, like, the ones that I thought portrayed it the best and the most respectfully, because a lot of
With
it
the
looked
one
very
boob out?
deviant art.
I would call that last one pretty deviant art.
Very deviant art-ish. Okay?
There's
So,
yeah, okay, never mind.
anyway. I'm sorry, okay? I tried.
No, it's beautiful. I love it.
But anyway, so this second goddess is, oh god, and this is the one where I am straight up just going to say it wrong for most of this. I will tell you the pronunciation, but I am not comfortable saying it multiple times. So throughout it, I will be calling her matcha. Not green tea, but you know. Just because it is spelled M-A-C-H-A, and that is the easiest pronunciation for me. It is not correct, I am aware. The correct pronunciation for her name would be, oh god, Maha.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Macha.
Yeah, you don't
Macha.
need to do that the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
you should,
that
because
CH,
respect my culture.
Hannah, I already gave the disclaimer, okay? I'm not doing
I'll be
it.
quiet. I'll shut
It would
the
be
hell
more
up.
disrespectful for me to pronounce it poorly, I believe.
Fair.
I made the attempt. I am also telling you that I am a stupid American white person who cannot speak your language, okay?
This is white people language. Just say it.
It is, but I'm a stupid white person from America who doesn't speak Irish. Okay?
You know what you can say?
What?
Say it with me. Tabro norm.
Tabrol norm.
That's like, I'm sorry.
There. You're right. I am sorry that I cannot pronounce it correctly multiple times. Basically, it's because the CH in her name, in Irish, well, in the phonetic alphabet,
It's the same as
presented
like,
as an
Lach.
X. Yeah, it is. It's called, in linguistic terms, the way that you say it is called a velar fricative. It is basically, it's like a sound that you kind of make like towards the back of your throat.
Lach.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Lach.
can't even do that. Like I can't make noises like that. So
Yeah.
you're doing better
So-
than me.
Shannon, be better.
So it's one of those sounds that is not native to American English, and therefore it is difficult for me to do it consistently correctly. So that is why I have opted to go with matcha. Okay?
Yes.
I am sorry.
It's all
But
good.
anyway. So this was the original story from like way back at the beginning where I was like, we're just going to talk about this real quick. And then I was like, no, fuck it. We're going to talk about all of it. Was her story. And she's the one where I'm going to like dive into one of her stories like on its own. But overall, she is known as the goddess of the horses. She's also seen as like a sovereignty goddess, and she is tied to the land. She is specifically tied to the region of Ulster, which is Northern Ireland. Again, it's kind of like a province.
If I just wear that for our photo shoot, would you guys be okay? Because we have the same hair, just saying.
Go for it. I don't care.
That's what you want to do. I'll support it.
Let the boobs fly free.
I think I need to get a couple tattoos, though. Are those tattoos? I can't see.
They might be like
They're
armbands.
probably, yeah,
Like jewelry
That's an
armband
armband for
things.
sure. You're
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
I need a horse. Somebody
But
buy me a
also,
roan
like,
horse.
The Celts were known to like paint designs on
Yeah.
their skin, so it could be, depending on who did this artwork and what they researched, it could be trying to emulate that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I need a horse and a crow. What's my next animal? We'll figure it out.
A snake. I want a snake.
There are no snakes
Look,
in Ireland.
I know, but I have to have ties to my Medusa nickname, so
Okay.
so
Fine. We'll allow one
We have to have-
snack.
one snake. We just won't take it to Ireland with us because it's outlawed. Says Sir Patrick.
What? Sir Patrick Stewart was here?
Sir
Saint?
Patrick of the
Remember
Saints.
Do you mean Saint Patrick?
I do, but I don't want to call him that.
Why would you give him a different... Whatever, it doesn't matter.
A different title? Because
Do you
I
guys
feel
want
like
to see
it.
the face I made when I when I sent you guys, speaking of Star Trek, that nerd trap, thirst trap?
Sure.
Because I did take a picture of my face for Emma.
Cool.
But I just didn't send it to you guys.
While you send that, I'm going to continue talking.
Okay, here it is.
So, okay, so she's
Ignore
known
my
as
triple chins.
the goddess of the horses. So for her, there are multiple stories. There's also, like, there's multiple matchas in Irish mythology, and it's not really known whether they are all the same person or different people, because the stories around them are different and take place in different places. But again, if she's a goddess, like, I don't see why she couldn't be in multiple. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. People don't really know if it's the same one or not. She is associated with the land, fertility, kingship, war, and horses. So she's considered what is known as a sovereignty goddess. Okay, so this story for her, this was my, like, it just makes me laugh. But basically, in this story, there is a farmer in the Ulster region, and his wife had died, and so this lady just, like, mysteriously shows up at his house one day and starts acting as his wife and keeping house and everything. And the way I put it in my notes, the dude was just like, weird, but okay, seems legit. So,
Okay.
the lady who just appears is Matcha. And as long as she was with the farmer, his wealth continued to grow and his fields prospered and, like, all this stuff. Eventually, she becomes pregnant with his child.
Okay.
So, while she is pregnant, there is a festival in the region that is held by the king, and the farmer leaves to attend the festival. Matcha tells him, as he is leaving, that she will only stay with him so long as he never mentions her to anyone at this festival. And he agrees to this. So he goes to this festival, he's hanging out, he's watching a chariot race, and he makes this like offhand comment boasting that his wife can run faster than the king's horses. Why anyone would make that comment, I do not know. The king finds out about it. I don't know if he overheard it or someone told him about it. Obviously, he is not happy. He doesn't take too kindly to someone insulting his horses, because apparently king's horses are the best. So he orders that this farmer be held on pain of death unless his wife can win in a race against the king's horses.
Okay.
So Matcha
And
is
she's
brought.
pregnant.
Yeah, she is pregnant. And she's like 9 months pregnant. So she is summoned and brought in, and she is forced to run a race against the king's horses while heavily pregnant.
Gross.
Obviously puts her in a lot of pain, but she does win because she's a goddess. But at the end of the race, she cries out in pain and gives birth to twins. This story is kind of, basically there's like a place in the Ulster region that is like, I didn't write down the actual Irish name, but it translates to like the twins of Matcha. So that's kind of like the origin story of that. And then whatever. But so she wins the race, gives birth to twins. As punishment to the king and all the people there for disrespecting and humiliating her, Matcha places a curse on all of the men of Ulster so that, quote, at the time of their greatest need, they will be overcome with pain, making them as weak as a woman in childbirth.
Ew.
So
like when the British invaded.
yes. And basically the pain would last for 5 days and the curse would last for 9 generations. So basically Matcha was like, you want to humiliate me? Here, have some childbirthing contractions that last for 5 days in the middle of your super important battle for your land. And that was also kind of used as the origin story. Apparently Ulster like lost a battle to probably the British and like
I'm sure they did.
lost their land, you know, all the things.
Let's look it up.
But yeah, they like lost a super important battle and they were like, it's because of Matcha's curse. We couldn't fight. We were in too much pain. Contractions. We're poor little men. Yeah. Maybe
Oh,
you
it's Battle
shouldn't make
Boyne,
a woman run a race
obviously.
against horses. I'm just saying, while she's pregnant, maybe you
Yeah.
shouldn't do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Which century should we pick?
Yeah. But yeah, that story just cracked me up because I was like, men with contraction pains, they're such little babies. And it just seems like the perfect little curse that they deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's really all I got on Matcha.
All right.
But yeah, so you can go on to the next one. Goddess number 3. This is Anu. And I have very little information on her. It is very hard to know anything about her specifically because she is sometimes called Anand or Danu. She might be her own goddess, or it could just be that Anu and Anand are different names for Danu, who is the mother goddess. Like if you remember back to the whatever they're called, the like mother of the Fae, the children of Danu, she might be the mother goddess. Oh, again, we don't really know. No one really knows. And it's really hard to find information on who she is or what she might do. She might just be the Morrigan herself. She might be Morrigan. It might just be that it's another name for Morrigan. Again, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Again, she could be a completely separate goddess in her own right. And all of the Wikipedia pages for her just circle back to the Morrigan page. And a news page itself, like, doesn't really have any information at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you like look up the trio of goddesses for the Morrigan, she is generally considered in there, and sometimes she is listed as Anu, and then in parentheses they'll put Morrigan, or they'll put Morrigan in parentheses Anu. So
Yeah.
I think that sometimes the trio that is called the Morrigna is Bive, Maha, and Morrigan. But again, really hard to kind of find distinctive information on just Anu. What I do know is that she is associated with like life and fertility and things like that. But again, if she is the mother goddess, then that makes sense. So that's all I got on her. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
And then the next slide, this is Nevin. It is spelled Nemain, but it is pronounced Nevin. And in some stories or some versions of the lore, the three goddesses, it appears that Bive and Maha are the two consistent ones. They almost always appear if they are doing the version of the Morrigan where it's the trio. It's always this third one that's a little confusing. So Nevin is sometimes listed as the third member of the Morrigan. She is a spirit woman or a goddess, depending on the story, and she personifies the frenzied havoc of war.
Great.
So,
Sick.
in one tale, she is described as an Irish goddess who is very powerful. Nevin can kill 100 men with just one single battle cry.
Damn.
And she is known to confound armies so that friendly bands fall into mutual slaughter. So she's a little bit similar to Bive in that way, but it's a bit more chaotic. Bive's is much more like she confuses the side that she doesn't want to win so that they have less chance of winning, sort of thing. This one, it is more like Nevin kind of creates pure havoc, and so she doesn't like pick a side, she just like makes them all kill each other, sort of thing. And then sometimes she appears in stories as the Ban Neve, which is the weeping washer by the river, which is like common in Irish folk tales. But basically it's a figure that is usually seen crying by a river, and they are washing like the clothes or the the entrails of a doomed warrior. Usually the clothes.
Those are very different things.
I know. When I read it, I was like, but
Is
why
it
would you be
your
washing the entrails?
Outside clothes or your inside clothes?
Right. All of the stories that I've ever seen one of these figures in, it is always they are washing the clothes in a river, they are crying, and it's like a wailing cry. It's similar to a banshee, but not quite so like screechy.
Yeah.
And it is, they're kind of like an ethereal figure, like a spirit woman, basically.
Yeah.
And it is foreshadowing that the owner of those clothes is going to die, usually a warrior. So she sometimes appears in stories as that kind of figure. And then Nevin and Bive are sometimes called the wives of Nate, something like that.
Spell it.
Neit.
I tell you now.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Go away.
It was another one of those that I forgot to transcribe because I was not focused on him because I don't care about him. But he is the god of battle, and so Nevin and Bive are sometimes called his wives, which makes sense. He's the god of battle. They're the goddesses of war and battle and general chaos.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's I know how to say this. It is Fea and Nevin. Fea is another goddess who, again, she and Nevin might be the same person. She and Bive might be the same person. She might be her own goddess. Again, do not know.
Yeah.
So, rarely, but it does happen. Fea is one of the 3 Morrigan as well. But yeah, so again, as with everything, it kind of depends on which story you read, what region you're in, who's doing it all. So, as far as the goddesses go, that's all I've really got for you. I do have this thing that I vaguely browsed over on Wikipedia, and then I just like copied and pasted it into my notes.
That's fair.
So, but basically it's about a battle. It's in one of the stories, and it is one of the like most distinctive stories where it shows the Morrigan as being this trio of goddesses. And so basically it's called the First Battle of Mag Tured, and it is between Bive, Maha, and in this case they call her Morrigan, and they are all fighting on the sides of Tuatha Jedanan, the children of Danu, that thing. So they're fighting on the side of that. So yeah, and they like use their magic and whatever in this battle to incite fear and confusion among the opposing army, which is the Fomorians. I don't know who they are. I probably should have looked that up, but it's fine. Oh, that's cool. Apparently they conjured clouds of mist and a furious rain of fire. Should have read this beforehand. That's cool. I want to do that.
I just Googled it real quick. The Fomorians, I'm throwing an extra R in there. They're a supernatural race in Irish mythology. They're enemies of Ireland's first settlers and opponents of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Their relationship is complex. That's pretty much it. They're kind of just different gods. And like, I don't know if they're gods necessarily. They're just different supernatural beings who don't
It's probably
like
similar to like in Norse mythology, they have their deities, and then they have the kind of like the troll things. Like if you think of like what, going to Marvel because it's what most people know of Norse mythology, but like the creatures that Loki came from.
That's actually
it's just
Jotun,
like
Jotnar. Shit, they're
the
from Jotunheim, but what
Jotunheim.
are they called? The Frost Giants.
Yeah, those.
In the
So
Wikipedia
it's kind of like
article-
that relationship.
In the Wikipedia article, it says the Fomorians have been likened to the Jotnar, I suppose, of Norse mythology.
Yes.
And I clicked on the link for Jotnar, and those are trolls. So, yes, you're right.
They're the Frost Giants.
Yes. So yeah, it's kind of like that relationship. That makes sense.
Yes.
Probably should have looked that up beforehand, but I didn't. Anyway, thank you,
it's
Shannon.
fine. I did.
It's
all good.
But yeah, so these 3 goddesses fought on the side of the Tuatha Dé Danann. They created clouds of mist and rain of fire, and they did not let the enemies rest for 3 days and 3 nights. So, yeah. Oh, that's a different story. Okay. So sometimes, like, during the battle, basically, Bive would take the form of a raven or a crow, and she would just, like, scream.
God.
Her banshee scream
She is
throughout
such
the
a
battlefield.
queen. I love her.
Just to strike fear and, like, whatever.
So chaos.
Just to strike fear into them. And then also because it was like so disorienting to people, they thought it was like the voices of the corpses on the battlefield.
Oh my god, I love it.
And
yes.
I love her.
I have a lot of anxiety if something around me, like if the TV
If a
is up
corpse is
too
talking.
loud, or like the radio is
Yeah.
too loud and I cannot speak with another human. It's different with concerts because that's like the plan, right? Like it's different. But if I'm sitting in a, like Allie has her radio turned up so fucking loud and I can't hear her. It like gives me anxiety. I don't know why, but it's like I cannot speak to another human, therefore I panic. It's weird. So like the thought of being in a battle with just hearing this banshee shriek that you can't do anything about just sounds horrible to me.
Have I sent you guys that medieval ASMR?
Maybe, I don't remember.
No.
We send each other a
don't
lot of
think
shit, dude. I have no idea.
Right.
It would have been like yesterday.
I don't remember.
So
No.
I guess I'm gonna say
I don't
no.
think so. That doesn't
find it.
sound
It's funny.
familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
But yeah, I mean, like, if you're on a battlefield, you haven't slept in 3 days and 3
Yeah.
nights, like, and you just start
Because
hearing
some bird
this,
woman is screeching.
Yeah.
right? You just hear this like wailing screech
No.
from like you can't even tell where because it's just like raining fire down and like misty, and you're just like, I'm gonna die. Cool.
Yeah.
Like that has
you're
got
thinking,
to
like,
just thinking about that is like the most terrifying situation you could be in.
Next time the Vikings invade, we should just go home with them because this shit is crazy.
Right. But yeah, after they ended up defeating the Fomorians, and then after that, Vive, who is usually like her screams or whatever are an omen of death at that point, instead of predicting doom, she started singing, and it was a prophecy celebrating the victory and a time of peace to come. So
Well, there you go.
that is that on
Did you
the
guys ever
Morrigan.
play Super Mario Brothers?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, like when you have to fight Birdo and she's like spitting eggs at you and being a total fucking bitch?
Yeah.
That's just what she
Yes.
reminds me of. Anyway, that end. Goodbye.
Cool.
as you
and I forgot to mention it earlier, but the YouTube video that I watched with Laura O'Brien is Names of the Morrigan, and basically she kind of goes into the lore of it all and talks about, because she's from Ireland, and she kind of talks about how she views the Morrigan as like a singular figure. But she kind of goes into the lore of like all these others as well. I watched it mostly to get pronunciation,
Yeah.
but it is an interesting video. I do recommend it. So that is all I've got for you.
Cool. That was interesting.
Yes, because I love Ireland and I love Irish mythology, but I don't necessarily care about St. Patrick. I do, in a way. But it's also Women's History Month, and these ladies are freaking
Yeah.
cool. Like, I just want to be a
Yeah.
battle crow
Yeah.
in my garden of skulls.
I'm literally looking for medieval belts so that I can wear my princess gown and run around in the fields the second it's warm outside here.
I love
You know what?
that
It doesn't
for you.
even matter. I'll do it in the snow. Come at me.
I mean, it
I
would
have
look pretty
wool
in the
tights.
snow. Yes. Do it. Here for it. But yeah, our ending is that we have no ending.
Yep.
Anyone have any closing
Sláinte.
thoughts?
I'm good.
Yee. All right. Bye,
All right.
friends.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening to The Triad. Our music is by Scott Buckley. Our audio is recorded by our sound engineers, Craig Bott and Audrey Credo.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr as The Triad Podcast. Our website is thetriadpodcast.wordpress.com. There, you can find information about our latest episode, including the show notes and sources.
We're also on Patreon as The Triad. Currently, all Patreon funds will go towards the cost of hosting the show. Each tier has its own rewards, but every patron receives our undying gratitude. Do you have comments, questions, or stories? Email us at thetriadpod@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive.